Okay, continuing on with our series of moving up in the organization and fit, I want to talk to you specifically about meetings or in-person meetings that you attend and some techniques that will make you seem more professional. Arrive 2 to 5 minutes early for the meeting. You don't want to be the person that's arriving as soon as the presenter begins to speak. So again, just a couple of minutes early allows you to get settled in, sit down, turn off your phone on silent or whatever you need to do, pull out a notepad, etc. Okay, if you have a conflict or need to come in late, clear it ahead of time. If you need to leave early or have that conflict, again, plan the exit so it isn't disruptive and clear it ahead of time so the person knows you're not simply being rude. All right. During the meeting, unless absolutely essential, and in few cases is it absolutely essential, no iPhone, no iPad, no cell phones, right? Nothing is as distracting to a presenter as to see people typing away, not paying attention, and selectively looking up and things like that. It's distracting for the presenter and just generally shows a lack of respect for the presenter personally. So don't do it. No texting, no typing emails, none of that. During the meeting, be engaged, sit forward in a chair, listen, and be ready to ask questions. Take notes if necessary, okay? Don't interrupt the presentation unless you are invited to do so, unless you are invited for questions, okay? Write down your questions and save them to the end of the presentation. And at the end of the presentation, if you do have questions, you do have concerns, don't create confrontations. Don't make a scene in front of others. Don't openly try to challenge someone who feels like they're in the firing lane in front of so many people, or sometimes they feel like they're in the spotlight, right? But don't challenge them openly or create a level of conflict or confrontation there in that situation. You may need to express or voice your questions or concerns, but do it in a way that's the least confrontational as possible. And if you need to follow up further on it, follow up after the meeting. Okay. Now, collectively, these are some simple rules to follow to appear more professional in in-person meetings.